the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. And our Batman, master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical. Our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission? To fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I'm going to be your host for this episode, and my name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
I'm Vicki.
I'm Jen.
And they are. I agree, which is good. Anyway, we are continuing our Racing 101. So you want to be a race car.
Do you want a race car?
So you want a race car.
Okay. Did we win a race car?
Get it right.
Did we win?
Get it right.
Did we win one?
No, we did not. But on this episode, we're going to discuss what to expect when you go to and from the racetrack. And this is going to be covering the endurance section. We can probably touch on autocross, which is something that we are also familiar with. I'm not really too sure about the other races.
An example.
These are just examples. I'm pretty sure that they all kind of cross over similar.
Somewhere similar.
Yes.
So the goal of this episode, well, the goal of the series is to get people out there and try. And the goal of this episode is the first time you go to a track or the first event you attend, you have so much to do, your head's spinning. So we're trying to make it a little less unpredictable so you kind of know what to expect so you can relax a little bit and hopefully keep up with what's going on. Because I know that your mental faculties will be overwhelmed with what you're trying to do, what you're trying to learn, what you're trying to see on the track and the speed you go and all kinds of fun things. So this is one less thing for you to worry about, hopefully. Yes,
this is racing, what to expect when you're expecting.
Yep. That's
Jennifer, right. I know you thought that was funny.
I know. It's a woman thing.
All right. So,
right.
Bill, why don't you kick us off?
All right. So if it's a boy, we're going to name it. Oh, sorry. What? No, that game is done. We were playing man-to-man. We are not going to zone. No, nope. Not playing zone defense in this family.
Do I look fat in this dress?
You said the dress was blue. That's all I said. I didn't say anything else.
Wow.
I said the dress was blue. Hey, get me out of this bathtub.
There is no right answer.
Get me out of this tub.
It's a trick question.
The absolutely correct wrong answer is no fatter than usual. That is the wrong answer.
Oh, that is definitely the wrong answer.
Yes.
Right. Go with plan B. Whatever, if that's plan A, whatever plan B is, you're much better off. Anyway.
That's right. Okay.
Now that we've wasted 5 minutes on stupid humor about what to expect or you're expecting. So when you are going to the track, there's a little bit of stuff you need to do before you even go to the track.
Yes. The first thing you should absolutely do is make sure you have an auto checklist and actually have a checklist of what you need to bring to the track.
If you don't have a checklist, we know a website that has one for
right.
you.
We actually do have that website, and it should be broken down into degrees between HPDE and endurance racing. And the endurance racing cross into other racing also. Mm-hmm. For beginners. Now, as you get seasoned, you'll probably want to edit that. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm quite sure you want to edit it, but
our list is quite extensive. So
it is quite comprehensive.
You may want to not bring everything that we bring, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that website, Bill?
Oh, I would think it would be, let's see. How about we'll name this one GarageHeroesInTraining.com. That's a new one. Anyway, it's there. But checklist is good to go. One of the key things that one member of our team has failed to do twice or maybe 3 times, I believe it's 3 times, when you sign up for the race or the HPDE and you click on which one you want to do, and you put it into the cart. You must actually pay for it. It doesn't just magically happen. You actually have to pay for it and click confirm at the end, or else
Yes.
you don't have a spot when you get there.
Yeah. So definitely sign up for your event.
Yes.
It's
Completely,
usually
all the way
right.
through.
Exactly. Now, there's going to be one major person that's going to be signing up for it, the main person who will actually register the car and will register the number. Some of those numbers get taken very, very quickly. Basically, your standard
immediately.
one digit and 2-digit numbers go really, really fast. 3 digits can be a little bit more obscure, so you can kind of play with those numbers. But arrange for your number when you go in, and make sure you also read the rules and regulations so you completely understand, number one, how your car is supposed to be prepared. So definitely visit that website early if you know you're going to be attending that event. If you're building a car, some require window nets, some require more specialty devices in your vehicles. I know the one races that we had did not require window nets. So, I mean, we've always run without window nets, but the one particular circuit did require window nets. We had to have window nets, and we had to have a rear blinker light. So make sure that you know exactly what the rules and regulations are on that website for whatever you're signing up way early, weeks early. And then you can hold off a little bit and then sign up.
The reason you want to do it early is some of these things, like most people don't have a JAWS light in their, toolbox. So if you need to order one, it's going to have to be ordered and shipped and installed.
You want to be at least a month ahead of time signing up, no later. If you're beginning at this, make sure about a month ahead of time you start signing up for your races that that you plan on attending.
We sign up for ours, our entire season in the month of December or January.
Right.
So we know what our schedule is, and everything's signed and started and reserved and set up.
Right.
It's just easier. And then, if we have a last minute, we can add, but especially I'm expecting 2021, which is hopefully the post-COVID, or at least the winding down of COVID. Everything seems to be selling out fast, quickly.
Right.
I think people have pent up race fever from last year, and everything is selling out really fast. So if you have any plans, there's nothing wrong with reserving your spot now. It also gives you incentive to get your stuff done.
Right. The other thing is that when you're adding numbers to your car, make sure you use vinyls, because the numbers are relatively fluid if you do not sign up for an entire season. So you
versus
can go
paint.
Versus paint. You can probably get away with tape or whatever in some circuits, but make sure your numbers aren't permanent, because you will probably have to change out unless you kind of know a guy in the circuit and it's like, this is their number and will always be their number. But the numbers have a tendency to be a little fluid. So don't lock yourself in with whatever you put on your car.
The other choice that we've seen, but we haven't had much success with, is magnetic numbers. I'm not sure if it's the ones we got, the magnets were strong enough, or the sheer fact that we go so fast. They don't seem to stay on our car.
Right.
So obviously we bought the wrong magnets,
right?
Because we don't go that fast.
Right.
But that's something to think about too.
Yes. And definitely cash out. Make sure that you completely understand and you are solid in with your race circuit and ready to go. And then after the main person registers the car, then they can go ahead in some circuits. If you're building a team, then they can go ahead and start sending out the invites. Say, hey, you have been invited to join. Go ahead and make sure you get on that early. Stuff like autocross, you may just, since it's a solitary thing, that you can just go ahead and sign up early, but make sure you get into, because they're already booking up really fast as of this 2021.
Yeah, we're in March, and I'm seeing things sold out through June.
Right.
And some places are sold out through the rest of the year for certain events. So if you know what you want to do, give yourself a deadline and sign up. It's not a bad
Right.
plan.
Exactly.
So, Miss Jen, what do you do before you arrive? What do you need to know?
Need to know when the gates are open.
This is true. Nothing like getting there nice and early and having the gates not let you in.
Yeah, that has happened to us.
Several times. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, because we usually try to get there with the trailers, RVs.
Right. Now the nice thing about Jennifer is that Jennifer actually, I mean, we have trailers delivered, Bill and I. RVs, excuse me, RVs. And Bill is usually the one that would show up on a Thursday. So you make sure that he has access on what time to do on Thursday. And we'll go over that next. But Jennifer is the one that has her own personal RV. So she has other areas when she is going to bring her RV in, and we piggyback off of her. So we're going to go ahead and let Jennifer know about, let her explain what takes place in this segment.
Yeah, we just usually call Bill. Bill's there on
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay.
I was going to say, Jen knows this how.
Yeah.
Because, we're like, Bill, save us a spot.
Yep, no problem. Do we have a garage? Do we need electric? Where are we parking?
Well, actually, I should say Jim calls Bill, and
usually.
they work it out.
Yep.
Okay, so Jennifer is just free flowing. She drives the car.
Jen's sitting on the side going, what are you complaining about?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
So
That's
anyway, there's
some spots have water, some have electric, but most of them are just, it's dry camping. So, you just want to make sure that, if you have an RV, you have enough water for however many days you're going to be there. And there'll be a generator.
Yep.
It depends. Every place is a little bit different. So when you are registering, if that's your plan, whether you're bringing an RV or a tent or whatever, just kind of, scope out whether there's facilities and amenities that you might need.
Yeah, we tend to try to reserve a garage. We have a few cars coming to most of the races, so at least having one garage is nice in case something goes wrong. We're undercover.
And how do the garage situation work usually?
Poorly. Every track is different. Some tracks you can reserve them, and you better reserve them January 1 for a race in November. Some tracks do not call you back no matter how many times you call them, and you just have to keep playing the game of calling them to get a person, and then you can reserve it. It's incredibly easy, incredibly fast, but they don't exactly care who gets the garage or when. So every track is different. So it's something I have in my calendar that goes off every week, and I call them every week just to make sure we have them. Like right now we have 5 races on schedule. We only have 2 of them with garages so far.
So if you're unable to get a garage, the other option is to make sure that you have a site that is close to electric, or if you bring a generator, and to make sure that you have a pop-up canopy, which is very helpful. And if you can track lights inside your canopy, bonus, because there may be times when you may be working all night. I've seen people work until 3:00 in the morning, and
seriously, they've listened to our podcast.
Yeah, that is true. So that is helpful. If you're unable to get a garage, you will be exposed to the elements at times. So if there's rain, and you don't want to be out there working on your car in the rain. So if you're unable to get a garage, make sure you at least have a canopy to cover your engine area and your work area.
10 by 10s are good. 10 by 15s are better. 10 by 20s are expensive.
Yes. And honestly, I find that 10 by 20, we haven't experienced a 10 by 20. We just purchased a 10 by 15 this year, which should be exciting to try out. But 10 by 20s are a lot of work, and they're heavy. So
really expensive.
And expensive. So it depends on how you run your hangar. But for the beginning, you can get away with a 10 by 20 as long as you're able to cover a 10 by 10. I'm sorry. You're able to get away with a 10 by 10 if you are just starting out, as long as you have enough to cover the area that you have to work on, is pretty much what you need.
And 10 by 10s are really cheap.
They really are.
Yeah,
and you know what? You can get 2 side by side just to
Yeah.
either cut yourself out of the sun or out of the rain. You can throw up tarps. Make sure if you're going to be working in the rain, just have tarps to kind of tie on to one side to make sure you're able to, cut out the oncoming rain if you're going to end up working in that type of situation. You really can't predict sometimes. It just is what it is.
Just predict it's going to rain.
Yeah. Just come prepared.
Yep. And 10 by 10s are disposable almost. And
absolutely.
you will probably have to get one every season.
Right.
Depending on how good you are at packing, how good you are at putting things away, and how much wind there is at a certain event.
Yeah. And there are tips and tricks. I think we covered that in our paddock series about how to manage a tent in that situation, which is just buckets and water, which is a great way to carry your tent. It actually weighs your tent down. And definitely at night, you want to lower your tent over your vehicle because it does cut down on the midnight dew that will land on your car and make your car wet on the inside, because most of the cars do not have windows.
If it gets windy, your tent looks like a parachute.
Exactly. And it will take flight.
Yes.
It has happened.
And we've lost a windshield over it too.
Yeah. So definitely when you're calling and you're checking out your racetracks, make sure that, what is the power situation you have? Are you able to park whatever vehicle or tent? If you do not have a garage, if there's electric close by, make sure if you get there early enough, you can kind of grab one of those sites, because sometimes they're kind of, if you get them, you can get them. Yeah. If you can't, you can't. And the other one is that if you're not traveling live with a trailer, just see if they have showers on site. Some racetracks do, that you can go ahead and access.
Especially the NASCAR tracks.
Yeah. It's always nice to go ahead and just, try to figure out what they have available.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bring your license.
Yes, bringing your license is always good.
Don't be like me.
It makes your team captain a lot less stressed for the entire weekend.
Yes. Jennifer's license had expired one time.
But it's just one of those things, when you get old, you don't ever pull it out anymore.
Yep. You don't get pulled over by cops, have to worry about it, or get carded. You don't really think about
carded,
it.
Nothing.
No.
It's like, what do you mean it's expired?
Yep.
When did that happen?
I know, right?
So you will need that in order to go ahead and access. It's not so much to figure out who you are, but it's just to make sure that you are registered and licensed to go ahead and drive a car. Make sure you do.
A lot of the series, the insurance requires it to be a licensed driver. So
exactly,
they literally will not be allowed to race.
Exactly. Make sure you have one current with you. The other thing too is make sure that you hop online and go ahead and study where or how the track is set up, because it will go ahead and let you know or give you an idea on where those entry points and exit points of the track will be. And it's nice to know what the lay of the land is going to be when you before you show up.
Alrighty. So what do we typically do as far as arrivals?
Well, the first thing for us that we do is that when we're reserving a deliverable RV, we have to call and coordinate those delivery times with what time we're able to access the track. If, again, that is only if you have a deliverable, and we have discussed that before, where you can go ahead and contact places like RV Share or Outdoorsy. And if you want to stay at the track, you can have individuals that have RVs that are local to that region that rent them out, much like hotel rooms. And do they have an access, or they have an availability to deliver those to you for a fee and then pick them up when you are done. So you will have to go ahead and coordinate with them on that. Other than that, if you have anything else, then just make sure that you kind of get a nice spot close to the garages, or have an area enough that you feel is level enough and comfortable enough to work in.
Take a look at the terrain.
Yes.
Levels not only important, but you can also look to see if you see like little
gullies and divots are terrible, because if it rains and you are literally in a pond, if you're working on your car.
Don't ask how we know.
Yes, we saw that.
We saw that. We saw that. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Okay.
So when you are going to the track, most tracks will open on a Thursday, and Thursday is usually your best option to show up. It kind of gives you prime access to sites that you can choose. It also, you can get better access to the track with your locations, or better access to amenities. So, and also you're able to set up and prep easier for a Friday, which is when everything starts to kick off. And things will start kicking off probably around 10 to noon on Friday,
Sometimes earlier,
sometimes earlier.
especially if there's a practice track day.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Once you enter, you're going to typically get a series of wristbands. You're going to have a wristband for entering the track premises. You're going to have usually you're going to have a driver's wristband. You're going to have sometimes you'll have a camping wristband. Sometimes you'll have a wristband for if you borrow a telemetry device where you your transponder for your car that keeps track of how your laps are going and what your speeds are. You'll have another wristband to remind you that you need to return that. Otherwise, you get charged for it. So just be prepared to sign a few waivers, insurance waivers for the track, insurance waivers for the racing series, and get whatever wristbands you need. It's not terribly important if you never leave the gate, but when you leave the gate, you don't want to have to go through this all on the way back in.
So
Correct.
Friday? Are we doing Friday?
We're doing Friday. Jen, what do we do on Friday?
So Friday, you want to get there earlier, the better. Okay. So once you get there, you want to get your paddock and your garage, if you have a garage set up. You usually have somebody who is the paddock queen, which is usually me or Vicki or whoever. And we just kind of make sure that stuff is organized. But I'm sure Vicki has graduated now that she's, full on mechanic beast, but I will now probably just be the organizer, but
You're in training.
I'm in training. So, and then certainly you want to, whoever is doing the paddock stuff, meals are a big thing. And we've talked about that in past podcasts too. So, you want to coordinate that for the weekend as well. But on Friday, you want to visit the coordinator's table with the driver's license, get your bands. Sorry.
It's okay.
Separate bands for passengers. Sorry,
yeah, the thing is, all right, so when you're racing in an HPDE or an autocross, they will have separate bands for passengers that they can ride. Passengers don't ride so much in endurance racing that I am aware of, but visitor bands will have to enter a car. They will have to have a separate band for that. So just basically just make sure that you have everything checked off on how those bands should be when you go on, because you will be checked as you start going through checkpoints, whether it be to enter the track or to enter the track itself, or enter your car onto the racetrack. You will be turned around if you do not have the proper bands.
The passengers are typically only for HPDEs and potentially for testing on Friday. They're not going to let anybody be a passenger for the race.
No, they will not let a passenger be on the race.
And then you would need to go through tech.
Mm-hmm. Tech is a big thing.
Yeah. And then
Jennifer, what happens usually in tech?
Well, you have to go up and you pull up and they go over your car. You have to take up a form with you. And I've never really looked too much at that form, but I know Bill always has it and it's very important. But you have to take it with you.
Right.
And they go through everything and they just make sure that your car is safe to drive that weekend. So they do that both for the endurance races and like HPDEs. And then you also have to go through and have all of the equipment that you wear checked also. So HPDs really don't require as much, I guess, safety
just
gear.
The helmet.
Yeah, just the helmet. But when you're doing going to like Lemons Race or Lucky Dog Race, endurance racing, you have to have the complete shoes set, shoes, gloves, socks, fire suit, the whole deal. And they have to go through it and make sure that, you know, the rating is correct and it's not out of date and everything is good to go.
And afterwards, when you're done, you will normally, I know in our series and Lucky Dog series, and I don't know about the Champ Car series, but you will get a sticker on your helmet to know that you had passed.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you don't, you don't get on the track.
Yeah. So, you know, it's
So
always
that's
good.
another thing. You can go to the website of the place that you've registered for, and they'll usually have all of that information on there on what equipment is acceptable to use.
Notable for this year, especially it's 2021. The 2010 helmets are no longer legal in several series and definitely in New Jersey. So you need to be running a 2015 or a 2020 helmet. 2010s are now really good for holding up books and opening doors. So.
Yes. So as you're going through all your checkpoints and your checklist and everything, there is a lot of moving parts that are happening here. So it does have a tendency to be overwhelming. You will at this point probably get a checklist of what the event is going to entail, and it'll go over your start points, your meetings, of what times you have to show up, and then after you start receiving your documentation of what you need after you sign in, you're going to have to go visit the transponder table. Now, a transponder,
if it's a race.
If it's a race that you're attending. Now, the transponder table, you go ahead and you get a little device that fits up underneath the bumper of your car around the front. And you would go ahead, you would zip tie it up. If you purchase it, there'll be devices that kind of snap in with a pin. Now, what they will do is they will be the counter for your car to let you know what positions you are in, and it will translate that to the race community that is there. So your number car will show up on podiums or whatever. It tells you what position you're in. And at the same time, right, and lap times. And that transponder can also coordinate with an app on your phone to let you know what position your car is in. So it helps you keep track of everything. And Bill knows what those apps are. I think Harry's is one.
No, Harry's is a timer. You're typically going to use either Race Hero or Race Monitor.
Right.
Race Hero is usually free. Race Monitor usually has a subscription. And with
Okay.
that, you can monitor, even if you're not at the track, you can monitor a race. You can see how everybody's doing and see what their times are and see what they're doing overall, or see what they're doing within the various levels of the race. They could be in level A, B, C, whatever. And you can, I watch people that I'm friends with. I watch them from home or from from when we're working in the garage, and just to see how they're doing. And, send out panic texts saying, "What's going on? Why aren't you lapping?" And,
right. For newbies out there, transponders are necessary. You have to have them on your car to race. So go ahead.
You just will get 0 laps.
Well, that's true. So in other words, you will need to have them to compete.
So if you're paying to compete, you want to have a transponder.
Right.
You want to complete any laps, you will need a transponder.
And because it is stuck to the underside of your car, be sure to remember that it's stuck to the underside of your car and return it when you are done. If not, you will have to probably mail it back to them and pay a fee for mailing it back to them.
Or get charged for the full price, which is
get charged for the full price. Yes. So just remember that it's stuck to your car and return it to the event coordinators.
Right. So some of the tricks that we do, if it's a race, we typically post in our paddock area somewhere the racing schedule. One of the things that we do, especially for HPDEs, where you have lots of races, or if you're doing sprint racing, where you're going to have more than one race a day.
I know where he's going. Pro move.
Well, Vicki likes taking a photo and then making it the home screen of her phone. The other thing you can do is I like to take the wristband from the track and I'll flip it inside out, and in magic marker, a Sharpie, I will put the times down that I need to be at on my wrist. So then I don't even have to pull my phone out.
Mhm.
Whatever way works for you,
Mhm.
it's fine. Always be on time, if not a little bit early.
It's best when you are at these events to show up about 10 to 15 minutes early at the line, because you never know what's going to expect. So if you can prepare for that, you won't end up feeling scrambled.
More than normal.
Yeah, that's right.
So, all right. Gear inspection, we went over already. Track practice. Track practice is usually, if there is a practice, it's usually going to be on Thursday or Friday. Most likely for the races we do, it's always on a Friday. However, we've had some on Thursdays. Usually it's a separate fee. Make sure that you understand what the rules of the practice are. Some of them are open track and you can do anything you want. Some of them are you'll be grouped with other cars and you'll be able to go out in predefined timing intervals. Make sure it's worth your time. Practice in general is a great idea, but some of the tracks that we go to have a schedule that does not fit in line with the rest of our schedule, so we don't bother doing any practice because we would only get out there once or twice, because we've got to do tech inspection with our gear, we've got to do tech inspection with our cars.
We have drivers coming in late.
Right.
Yeah.
So especially when you're newer, you want to get there and get as much practice time as you can. Some of the open track type practices are much better for that. And if you can do it, we highly recommend you do it, but just make sure that you're aware of what the procedures will be and make sure that you're comfortable with that, because the last thing you want to do is spend $300, $400, $500 for a practice day and drive for 20 minutes. It's not great. So Friday night, before you're getting ready, what are we doing?
Friday night, before you really settle in, you're going to have your first drivers meeting. It's really important that you can try
Sometimes it's either Friday night or Saturday morning, but yes.
Yeah, but the Friday night is usually the more intensive one. So it's really important that if you can get there Friday night to make sure you hit the Friday night meeting, because what they'll do is they'll go over flags, they'll go over rules, they'll go over expectations, because beyond rules, they'll go over expectations of how they want the event to run. And they'll make sure that you are completely aware of what is going to take place for your own safety and for everybody else's safety. And then if you happen to miss that one, there will be a one on Saturday morning, but it's a little bit more brief. And it kind of just goes over the highlights of what happened on Friday night. But Friday night's the more important one you want to hit.
Or Saturday. And there's always, especially since this is a 101, there's always a new driver, which is even longer, but better. So especially I'd say if you're at your first 1, 2, or 3 races or events, you may want to go to the new driver. I would recommend you do it. I still go every now and then.
I still like to go to the new driver ones. They are really
It's
good.
a good refresher.
It really is.
It is. And what else are you doing?
Right. You know what? The thing is, too, is that if you can hit a couple new drivers, like Jennifer said, when you are learning this and you're entering it in, there is a lot of information coming your way. A lot of it. It's completely new. So in order to get things to stick, you'll want to keep revisiting certain things, just to make sure that it becomes solid and that things start become, into your subconscious or into your muscle memory. So keep doing the important things until it's solid.
What's one of our favorite things that we get to do? Sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday.
Jennifer,
Track
walks.
Track walk. It's the best way to get your steps in. Oh no, that's not why.
It is a great way to get steps in, though. Oh, it's awesome.
Do get a few.
Yep.
So what do we do on a track walk, people?
Track walks are fun. Track walks are a lot of fun. You can do them either on a bike if you're more experienced, but usually
and the track allows it.
and the track allows it. But usually there will be one person who is extremely familiar with the track that is going to lead you. And it's just, if you happen to see a large group of people out there, most likely it's because there is one person out there discussing the track. Hop into that group. And they'll go ahead and they'll walk the track. And what they're going to do is they're going to inspect it for themselves. They're going to see if there's any unevenness in the track. They're going to check to see where those apexes are. They're going to visualize where they want their car to drive, which is a little bit more it's next level than seeing it like on a video or racing it on iRacing or seeing it on a video game, but actually experiencing the track and seeing how the track might tip in certain areas, whether it's towards the inside or tilt toward the outside. You'll be able to kind of visual how your car is going to be able to attack those apexes or track outs.
Jennifer, what are you thinking about when you're on your track walks?
Well, are you asking me what I used to think about? What I'm thinking about now.
Well,
when I started, it was where can I be to stay out of the way. Now
that's not it.
It's not it. But now, if we're usually really lucky to go with somebody that is very knowledgeable about the track, so it really is helpful to, and they're really sharing a lot of tips and tricks that they have for entering certain apexes, and it is very helpful.
They're
so
also they're showing you where the line is, and how your car should be lined up, and what they're going to do is they're actually going to point where they want you to look off in the distance and what points you should be directing your car at, which is not focused so much on the track, but it could be focused off on a tree or, a grandstand or, a particular pole. That's where your car, where you need to be looking at when you're on that. It's different when you're visualizing it.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very helpful.
The other thing you get to do is you get to see when you're driving the car and the speed that you're going makes the track seem much flatter than you would expect. And when you're walking, you can actually see that, wow, I'm going way uphill, or wow, I'm going way downhill, or wow, this turn is on camber, off camber. And one thing that we find that's very helpful is when you're in the middle of a turn around and see where you just came from. And you can see what the line should be to get you where you want to be. And it makes things a lot clearer when you're out there the next day. You're almost always faster after doing a track walk than you are before you did the track walk.
Now, also, as you become more experienced with track walks, and if they allow it to have a bicycle on there, because people do show up with just bikes, but it's just easier to get around with, or the particular ride-ons, but only bikes I imagine would be allowed onto the racetrack if they allow it for that particular track. But I can see how they would go ahead and ride that track to see as if they were in a car and kind of feel it within the bike itself on how they would race that track instead of being in it with their car. I totally can groove with that.
True. And then after we do the track walk, we have a whole bunch of stuff that we have to do in preparation for the next morning.
Yeah, it's no joke. Friday nights are work nights. Friday nights are not party nights.
No.
So
what else do we do? What else are we working on?
Bill's great with whiteboards. He's got some great whiteboards. So he's usually making the schedule, or he has like going over the track. We have maps now of the tracks, which is absolutely wonderful.
Aren't they awesome? They were introduced this year.
Yes.
So this particular year, Bill had introduced 4x3 maps that were laminated of the tracks themselves. So and he hangs them up on the inside of our car trailer, so we can actually go in and discuss where our problem areas are, where we think that we can improve, but we can actually see and draw out the line of where we need to be with that particular car. It's a great addition as almost like a 2.0 to your driving experience in endurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, we have that hanging up, and then usually the working on the schedule for who's driving, what car and when, and
Who's doing
times we're going
pits?
to eat. Yeah, I mean all the pit stuff that needs to be coordinated.
You have to align the schedule along with the responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the idea about the whiteboard, and the whiteboard has a tendency to be fluid. So that's why you want the whiteboard. You can actually change things and line up everybody's responsibilities of what they're supposed to be attending to. It's also a great place to go ahead and leave an area of parts that will be needed along with it, and have somebody come in and adjust the board accordingly.
Army travels on food, though.
Army travels
Yes.
on food.
So the way we usually work that is whoever is doing breakfast is not driving first.
Mhm.
Whoever's doing lunch is not driving in the middle of the day. So
Mhm.
you really have to kind of coordinate that. So typically, one person will be in charge of each meal. Is kind of when we camp share, that's the way we do it. So our schedule will kind of work around that, whoever's doing the meal for whatever time of the day.
Mhm. And it also, if you're just starting out with a team, it's good to go ahead and assign areas and responsibilities to people, so nobody is really guessing. And then if this is your hobby now, and your team starts to become a little bit more solid, people start to fall into their roles that they enjoy and
They're good at.
and that they're good at. And so there's not a lot of second guessing in it. And that is the point when people just say, okay, I'm good here, I will come over and help you. So there's no job that is actually dedicated, because everybody has to help everybody, but it's good to know where everybody has a starting point, and that's what you want the board for.
Know your strengths.
Know your strengths. And the only example that I can get is that, and I'm going to tell,
But I have so many.
I know. I'm going to tell a quick story. When we first started racing, we had a lot of teenagers with us that were interested in racing, and it was great. Listen, it was wonderful. It is tough to race with teenagers. Teenagers fall into a teenager mindset, and they expect to be told what to do. At that point, we did not have a whiteboard. So as we're waiting for everybody to just jump in, the teenager mindset is not quite there yet. So there was a lot of chaos in our pit. And as soon as we start introducing the whiteboard, it actually started to, the expectations were started to more even out. And it's just a central communication point for everybody who is not in the area. Leave a message, leave a part number. It's everybody can address that area.
The big thing is race mornings are busy. They're very
chaotic.
hectic.
They're just not busy. They're chaotic.
And if your team is not full of morning people and you're the only one who's a morning person, you try and get as much as you can done the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have 0 things to do in the morning, that's still too many.
Mm-hmm.
So try and get them done as early as possible.
Expect the unexpected in the morning of a Friday morning.
Like if a driver goes out to test a car, actually just to go get it inspected, but the inspection's not open. So they want to test it to make sure that it's good. But then they find out that the hood pins aren't in. And then the hood hits the window and breaks the front windshield of the car. These things you cannot put onto a whiteboard. This is
No, you cannot.
Welding a grate for a windshield on there.
That's right. And then you
Exactly.
spend the next 30 hours trying to find an expanded steel mesh to make a metal wind grate, which
Yes.
then matches with the exact edges of the track, so you can't tell where the grass starts.
Exactly. So
fantastic.
as much as
For instance, I'm just saying hypothetically.
as much as you can prepare before Saturday morning, as best as you could prepare before Saturday morning is how you're going to succeed.
And again on Sunday, same thing.
Yes, but Sundays are a little bit. By Sunday, you kind of have a groove going. But Fridays, for the new drivers and the new teams is completely unexpected. So organization is going to be the key to your success on a Friday.
And as Vicki says, you got to watch the children.
Feral children.
No, not those children.
Okay.
The children on our team.
Okay.
There's certain ones of us who are referred to as children that need to be watched.
Yes. Bill is our toddler.
What?
Yes, he has
I'm
more
right
excitement.
here.
Sometimes during a race, he has more excitement than sense.
Right
Alan is the same way. Sometimes he has definitely more excitement than sense. So, it's always good to have a minder, to keep them in line. Yes. To keep them in mind. Yes. So also driver strategy along with your mornings and your
planning the next day.
Always plan the next day. Plan for the next day before you even pick up something that's wonderful to drink or before you start your evening, whether it be a Friday or Saturday. Usually Saturday nights is for the fun stuff, but Friday nights is for the planning. You want to go ahead and prepare your driver lineup because driver lineup is also going to coordinate with your driver's personality, I would have to say. So, do you want to go into this, Bill?
Yeah. So, I know this is going to come as a surprise to anybody associated
Shocking.
with type A personalities that are predominantly male sports, but there's a bit of testosterone that's exhibited, especially the first thing in the morning, first race.
Yes.
So,
and we're addressing this with new teams, not so much seasoned teams right now.
Right. So when you're going out and it's the first race of the day or the first stint of the weekend or whatever it is,
first few
laps tend to be a bit of a cluster. So you don't want your super hot shoe who's super fast but has a little bit of the red mist. That is not the person you want in the car for the first 5 or 6 laps.
Nope.
You want to have somebody who's solid, perhaps even conservative, because you don't win an endurance race the first morning or the first stint or the first lap, in spite of the way some of the cars are driving out there. So you just have to control it, make sure it's somebody who understands this. And this is not where you want to put your first time racing teenager. This is not the first place they want to be. And they decide to be careful.
So the best idea that we have in our, experience, and granted that we're going into our 4th year, knowing nothing. Okay. One of the things we learned. Yeah. Well, we've come a long way. We've really come a long way.
We had a long way to go.
Yeah, we did. We really did. So take this to heart is that in some races, as Bill said, there's a lot of testosterone, there's a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of chaos with tight cars happening first thing in the morning on your first run. I know in Lemons, you can get up to 120 to 140 cars on the track at one time in 3 divisions, and they're all clustered together and they're all excited. So what you want to do in your first race is have somebody out there who's going to protect the car and who is going to know how to drive conservatively, but still hold the pace. So you're not trying to go for fast lap. You're not trying to get ahead of the pack. Your main job is to keep the car safe until cars start to spread out. Because in some races, Lemons, because it's a $500, it's a new racing type of scenario. You're going to have a lot of cars. You're going to have a lot of faulties that are going to be happening probably in the first quarter of the weekend. So having your car survive is the key to endurance racing, is to take care of the vehicle. It's not so much of the laps as survivability. And then towards the end of the weekend is when you really start to pack on your best race, your best drive, your best skills, and not so much your best drivers, because everybody is getting there. But survivability is Friday, the first several hours.
Saturday morning.
Yes, Saturday morning is the same thing. Saturday morning, by the time you hit Saturday morning, either a lot of the new drivers or a lot of the new vehicles or some of the experienced drivers and the cars that are not prepared well will start to have problems. A
lot of our races start on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I would. Well, yeah, they start on Saturday morning, but Sunday morning is actually going to be the day when you're going to see really good drivers start to perform. You're going to start seeing less cars on the track, at least in a lemon scenario. You're going to see less cars on the track. You're going to see them more spread out. You're going to see better drivers performing. Sunday is the
usually
day.
The better cars, the ones that survive.
Yes. The last quarter of the weekend is when you're going to see real competition happening. And that's where you really want to start placing your best drivers or towards the end of the day, especially on a Sunday. That's where the competition is really going to start to happen.
Right. And just an etiquette thing, your first race, you're probably not going to be in the top 10. On Sunday, you're going to have a group of cars that are in the top 10. And especially towards the end of Sunday, you're going to have a group of cars that are in the top 10. Try to keep track of those cars because they're competing to actually do well in the race. And they will most likely be coming up on you very quickly. And you should just let them go right by. Point them by.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing is, too, that I can't stress enough on driver strategy is that you are not racing a car. You are racing yourself. You are competing with yourself and your own performance, because whoever is in the car that you're seeing in front of you, and most likely if you're a beginning racer with a beginning car, you're going to be probably entering into a C class. That person in front of you could be an A class. And they could have a stellar driver in there, but the next stint that they go out on, they could have a C-class driver driving in an A-class car who is crossing over into upper levels. So they may not perform the same way. So it's really, really hard to gauge a team and a particular car. Just keep that in mind, that the only person that matters on that track and the performance that a car needs to have is you driving that car. Nobody else matters. Nobody else matters, and nobody else's performance matters. But if you happen to pull up behind a car that's better than you, watch what they do and how they drive, but don't compete with them. I mean, if you can, but don't compete with them if you're first starting out. That is the biggest mistake people have, and that's the biggest thing that Red Mist has.
Yep. So what else do we do on Friday night, Miss Jen? Well, every night, really.
Every night.
Organize.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Organize everything.
How important is that?
Unorganized.
How important is that, Jennifer?
It's so important for everything. I mean, putting tools back, or making sure you know where your helmet is. I mean, you really have to have a designated place for everything and make sure it makes its way back to that designated place, because when you need it, you need it.
Yep.
And you need it fast.
And
those flame-proof socks, they disappear just like regular socks.
I guess they do. I have no idea where they go.
I know. It's like doing the laundry. You got one.
That's right.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So, and then you want to get your fuel and gas ready for Saturday.
Yep.
Check your wheel torque.
Yep. It's good to have your wheels stay on the car. So torquing your lug nuts is always a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Do a last minute check over your car to make sure everything is where it needs to be, and make sure you have your fluids for the day.
And start developing a checklist. I mean, we have a huge checklist now. We started off with no checklist, so you're going to need to develop it for your team and your car.
Do we have one of those on our website?
We could.
Okay.
All right. I guess I'm making website changes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Okay.
So, Bill, after you get done editing this, do you think that you could? No.
I have no choice, do I? Well, it's not like I can delegate it to anybody else. So yeah, I guess I do. Can't wait. Should be
Bill's
fun.
such a vital part of our team.
He really is.
He really is. This team would not survive if it wasn't hit for him.
He's our Blarney Rock.
He is.
Our Blarney Stone.
That's right. He's our
All right.
Blarney Stone.
All right. That's enough about me. What do you think about me? Anyway, Saturday, race day. Typically.
Race day is so exciting. It's so exciting. You're going to be so pumped.
Everybody is so pumped.
So pumped. So pumped. So what's important, Bill?
Well, I mean, talking about my greatness is always appreciated. I mean, the big thing is, especially if it's an endurance race, you cannot win on the first day. You can't even do well on the first day. You can just
survivability,
make it through. And the more laps you do, the better. But, it doesn't really matter.
Bodies in cars is what matters.
Not in the pits.
No.
Not getting the hook of shame.
Nope.
Running.
It's how fast it is between the person getting out of the car and the person getting in the car.
Right. And the car running. Just stay on track. So big things are staying organized, keeping everybody refreshed. You will dehydrate. And then, depending on the race, if it's a true 24 or a true 25 or something where you're riding for a very long time, everybody's got to stay rested. And that goes for if it's a multi-day race with a break, getting good night's rest, or if it's a true 24, you getting your rest while you're not driving. It's just, if you're not well rested, you're essentially driving drunk.
Right. And listen, if you have 20 minutes in your day and you feel tired, take a 20-minute nap. Serious. It will help you with your performance.
And they're delicious.
Because when you are at a race, you are sheerly on adrenaline. That's all that's keeping you going. Adrenaline, hydration, and caffeine, most likely. So you don't realize how tired you are going to be until that Monday hits and you are basically a zombie. So if you can get rest through, that would be awesome.
So, Pat Queen, Pat King, what are we doing?
Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure everybody's fed.
Yep.
So so usually the person gets up, just kind of puts everything out on a table, and then we usually have like a text chain or word of mouth, just kind of go around until everybody's meals are ready.
Right.
But again, I just address that just a little earlier, that whoever's doing the meals needs to not be driving at that time. So we really do try to coordinate that.
And if if the schedule happens to shift, just be aware that the schedule is shifting, and somebody needs to jump in for that to take that over.
And I know we went over it in some of our other podcasts, but meal prep stuff. But the more that you can do as far as meal prep ahead of time, the better, because it really cuts down on the time that you're spending getting everything out.
Right. Saturday and Sunday, there are so many moving parts that are going to be happening that you will feel stress. You will feel the adrenaline. You will feel frustration at times when things aren't lining up as they should, because things will happen. So yes, no. So with all the moving parts, to try to keep everything organized and try to keep things as simple as possible is the key. And if, I know that when it comes to paddock, having stuff just available just to snack on until maybe a meal is served, or to remember that hydration is happening. And again, we discussed all these techniques in our paddock segment of our 101. So go ahead and revisit that for some of those. But there can be no underestimation of how important that is to have that available to keep your team going.
Okay, so day of the race, morning of the race, there's going to be a driver's meeting. There's going to be a rookie meeting usually. We like to have a team meeting. It sounds like a lot of meetings, but we find that it helps. You definitely have to go to a driver's meeting. The team meeting gets everybody lined up and make sure that all the schedules are clear and make sure that everybody knows where they need to be and what they need to be doing. And then we also, if we have any updates to the whiteboard for our schedule, we'll update it there, because sometimes it just doesn't become clear. And it's like, well, Bill, you've got me in the car here, but you've also got me doing the pit on the other car, and I'm supposed to be taking care of lunch. So
yeah, I think one year we had one guy driving 2 cars at the same time.
Listen, if you guys
and we're
don't
just like,
pick
what
up
happened here? Somebody moved everything around.
Listen,
So
you guys got to pick up your skills. We need you to be able to drive 2 cars.
yeah.
Okay. So just do that. Definitely go to the driver's meeting, or else you can get in a lot of trouble with the organizers. And definitely, I think it's a good idea to have a team meeting, just to make sure you're all on the same page. And I would say you need to be up at least 2 hours before the green flag. Earlier the better. I tend to wake up. We usually have green flags sometimes between 8 and 9. I'm usually up around 5 at the latest. But I'm a morning person. The rest of my team, not so much. So morning people are great for race day. Okay. Afternoon.
Yeah, for the afternoon, just you have to make sure you keep track of your fuel usage. Some of the cars do not have gauges. I know ours does not. So knowing how much goes in, keeping track of it, keeping calculations of it, and making sure that you have fuel ready for the pit, and make sure that your pit cart is ready to go is important.
Make sure you keep fuel in your car. Make sure you keep fuel in your people. Make sure you keep water in your people.
Lots of water.
Lots of water.
Yep.
Miss Jennifer.
Yes.
We finished our race day. It's now evening.
But you don't get to rest.
No resting.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Mm-mm. It's not Slurpee time yet, people.
Nope. Car just comes off the track for the first time. Usually there's a big clap and celebration. You made it through the first day. Woohoo!
Hopefully.
Cross some fingers.
You'll make it to the next day, but
exactly.
You need to prepare your car for the next day. So you need to do your nut and bolt checks. You need to check your tires, check your fluids, make a list, and do any repairs that need to be done for the next day.
Yep. Same thing with the paddock. You got to organize it for the morning. You got to put your tools away. You got to put your drivers away. You got to put your parts away. You got to clean up everything. It's nice to have a sous chef.
Right.
Basically, you want to restart Sunday morning the same way you started Saturday morning. And, it would be nice to know what time you start on Sunday.
Sometimes that is fluid.
Yes. And then once all of that is done, then it's time for lunch, dinner.
It's time for the fun, whether you decide to go out to a restaurant that's local, whether you decide to take into paddock life, because there is such a thing as paddock social life, which sometimes kicks off and has a tendency to be a little crazy at times. Lots of fun. Sometimes also during paddock life, you might experience working on your car until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Or you could end up in a wig in a hot tub with 10 other people.
Or you could end up in a mobile hot tub. Yeah. With a beer in your hand. Yeah, there's that too. You could be one of those people that have a tendency not to be so much of a partier, but like to do more things hands-on. So go over and see if you can help another team with their car. So they might be having struggles. And if you're just kind of like one of those type of people that like to do that, then they're always ready for help.
Or on rare occasion, when our car is working, and we are somewhat in control of our destiny, we'll actually have a team walkabout, and we'll go see what the other cars are and talk to other teams and just kind of, do a parade around the paddock area.
Yep.
And we've seen some pretty crazy cars, and we've seen some pretty crazy pits, and we've seen some pretty crazy paddocks, and we've met some pretty crazy people. But they're fun.
Yep.
most important thing in my mind, go to bed.
Yeah, make sure you get enough rest for the following morning. You certainly don't want to be hungover on the racetrack the following day. So make sure, you newbies out there, if you're there to win or there to compete, you certainly don't want to be hungover. So be prepared. On Sunday mornings, sometimes in some areas, they have something called the church hour, which means times will be starting just a little bit later.
Sometimes
they have
an interruption in the middle.
Exactly. There's a noise ordinance for that, or a prayer time. So keep that in mind.
Sometimes you'll have a driver's meeting if things are changing, or if things did not go exceptionally well the night before or the day
They
before.
call you in and yell at you.
You will
Yeah.
get called,
Yeah.
you will get called to the principal's office and told exactly how bad you are.
Yeah. Or
You
they
better do
call
better.
they call the entire circuit in there and said there is way too much contact.
Yes, there will be
Yes.
lots of black flags, and you will be parked for a
Yes.
while.
And these are the new rule changes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Keep that in mind. So Sunday mornings are important. So
Yep.
be rested, have fun on
Absolutely.
Saturday night, but be responsible about it.
Sunday morning starts off pretty aggressive, same as Saturday, not quite as bad. There's less cars.
Less cars, at least in our circuit, there will be for sure. But usually endurance racing, again,
lose
probably
a
in
good
most
percentage.
circuits, things happen.
Yeah, cars start to
Thin
crash,
out,
they start to break down,
And-
so
and the better teams start to show themselves.
Yes.
yeah.
So same repeat, mostly the same as yesterday or Saturday. You get your food together, get your paddock together, keep everything together. Sometime mid-afternoon, if things are going well and you have time, this is a great time to get started packing.
Yes. It's a time to start taking away the unnecessary things from your paddock and start getting them prepared
I'm right
or
here.
organized for loading.
Right here. You're talking
Yes.
about me.
You are
now.
not unnecessary. You
Okay,
are my
just
husband.
Just checking. Just checking. Trying to see.
Yes.
So we pack up things. We either pack them all the way into the trailer or the truck,
Mhm.
or we pre-pack them so that they're easily taken away.
Yes.
Sometimes there will be a point in the day where you just pull the plug on the race and say, "Listen,
Done.
if it breaks from here on, we're done."
Right.
And just put everything away.
Right. This is probably the better time to start thinking about your RV pack up.
Mhm.
Because at this point you really won't be needing your RV except probably for just the water usage of it. So, but prepare your RVs to go, or prepare your RVs for pickup if you have reserved them. Pack up your tents. This is the best time to do that, and just think about the unnecessary things in your paddock itself, and start setting them aside, ready to go.
And then I guess late afternoon you want to organize your garage and get your car loaded up, and just begin preparing to get ready to go.
Yeah. If your car's done, your car's done. If you're so usually at the track, they have a set time after the race ends. If your car makes it to the end of the race, sweet. I mean, that is the best experience. You hit that flag. And at that point, there is little time for celebration. I mean, you'll probably have about, you're going to go back, start preparing your paddock. We're going to meet back at this area at this time, which is probably going to be within the half hour. They're going to have an award ceremony. They're going to have a discussion. But at that point, those tracks are like, we want everybody out of here by 7:00. And at that point, it's a mad dash to kind of get your trailers packed. They do make allowances for people that are kind of straggling behind, but having forethought on how you're going to pack your car trailer and how you're going to load it, and make sure that your team doesn't run off when you are loading. Make sure you have people there that are going to be able to assist with you, because loading a car trailer and preparing an RV is a lot of work for preparation for the road. So before your extra members pack up and start heading home, just make sure to say, hey, I need help doing this. Can we get everybody? Can you guys lug this stuff over? It will make your exit of the track much more enjoyable. Make sure all your stuff is tied down accordingly and securely for the road home.
Yep. Did everybody remember to return their transponder?
Oh no, I forgot to return the transponder in this whole conversation.
Damn it, Vicki.
You know what? It does happen. It really does happen because you got so many moving parts. So Bill, what happens now?
Did we remember or did we not remember?
Okay, so we did not remember.
So then we go panic and running to where the transponder person used to be. They're usually gone.
They've left at like 5:30, even though the race ended at 5.
And you see them usually driving out of the track as you're hopelessly flailing your arms trying to wave them down, but it's too late. And you either call or email them, and then you have to mail it to them and hopefully not get charged for it. So
yeah, talk sweet to them, tell them you'll bring something nice to the next race and
That's
apologize greatly, and you should be good.
Yep.
So
that's it.
drive safe home.
Drive safe home.
Listen, your Monday morning, what you're going to be, Jennifer, tell them what they're going to experience after their first race.
Hangover, race hangover.
What is a race hangover?
Just
I don't even drink.
Exhausted. Good
Yes.
Lord. Like everything, all of that adrenaline that you were running on all weekend, it all just peter out.
Like a Jackson Brown song.
You will experience a tired like you have never experienced before.
Like race coma.
We have a tremendous picture of Vicki crashed Monday on the bed with our you got screwed award, just comatose for the entire day. So
yeah. I think it was that way till Thursday.
It was ugly.
Yes, it was. I've never experienced so much tired, but again, as Jennifer said, you are so pumped and you are so excited, and there's so much running around, and so much adrenaline is going through your system, and that the bill comes due for that.
What did I do?
And the bill comes due on Monday and Tuesday probably. So be prepared for the withdrawal of race weekend.
I thought we were done talking about me.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But you have plenty of stories to go back to work with. So I do have to say is probably one of the most exciting experiences. And if you do not have a team, see if you can hop on with and rent a seat with somebody.
Come to a race with us.
Yes. If you find us, come visit us. We will walk you through the paces.
That's right. We're not promising we won't make you help us fix our car, but come on by.
No, but our paddock is always open for any visitors that happen to come by.
That's right. If we can get one person started, well, we've already done that. So if we can get more people started, come on down. That'd be great. All right. Did we miss anything, people?
I think we got it all.
So.
Okay. Very well. That is Racing 101. What to expect when you're expecting to go to a racetrack. Have a great night.
We hope this helped. Thank you.
Dominating with Dawson.
Welcome back to Dominating with Dawson with Ben Dawson.
How's it going?
Who'd have thunk you show up to this episode?
So weird.
It is. It must be a special day because we have both Vicki and Jen.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
It's the Racing 101 series, Dominating with Dawson style.
Beginners.
So one of the things that we wanted to bring up was when it's your first time on track, you're not going to set any records. You're probably not going to get a professional drive job, and go compete in any sanctioned events anywhere else. You're supposed to be out there having fun, having a good time. However, one of the things that we'll see is people at their first time being concerned about how late they can hit the brakes.
Want to be a late braking champion.
That's right.
What do you get if you're the last one on the brake zone?
Sometimes you get a tree. Sometimes you get a lot of dirt.
Steering wheel in your mouth.
Steering wheel in the mouth. Yeah.
What?
MOUFF, mouth.
No.
Yeah, so that's I don't know. I'm never trying to be the last guy on the brakes necessarily. Sometimes it happens just because other people park the car in the wrong place, but that's not. I'm never like thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm screwing up because I wasn't the last guy to get to the brakes.
Yep. I think that the one thing that we were trying to talk about, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, is don't worry about how late you can get to the brakes. Worry about getting to the right point on the apex. It's your first time on track. Worry about your exit speed. Don't worry about when you can hit the brake the latest, or because you're probably, to be honest, you're not hitting the brake hard enough on your first day on track. I've never seen anybody do it.
Yeah, and I think as a beginner, you can try to push yourself too hard and worry too much about being very, very late on the brakes, but it doesn't really yield any real lap time. Because if you wait too late on the brakes and you're kind of all in you have an ugly corner after that, then you don't learn that much. I think you're right. I think if it's your first race or your first DE event, there's no point to making a big show of how brave you are going down the brakes, and you're just going to mess something up. I think you're definitely right. It's important to concentrate on more about finding the right point for your beginning of braking and end of braking that sort of puts you right at the apex at your pace at that moment. If you're a beginner in racing or DE driving, that's likely to shift, but at least find the place that's comfortable to get you to the apex, at a beginner stage. And you're right, work on building your speed out of the corner. I think that's the safest way to go.
Yeah. What do you think, Miss Jen?
I have no thoughts on this.
All right, very well. Glad to have you on board. Thanks again.
Oh, your best shot.
My best shot.
Well, is it a concern
I have to say,
of yours?
when I first started with, I really didn't. I wasn't concerned about that at all. About braking early. Now I'm way more conscious of it. But
starting to move towards it. What were you concerned about the first couple times?
Staying alive.
That's a good.
Yeah. I mean, it was trying to, I've just learned so much between now and then. So I guess just not like spinning the car, just kind of going around the corners and keeping the car on the track and
so you weren't in mindset. You weren't trying to be like, I
was nowhere near like even thinking about, like, I was still street driving.
Yeah.
I was there. That's where I was.
I think Bill,
if I review my notes from our first HPDE, Jen, I believe you were working on the line and sequencing of your shifting and braking.
Yes, but I thought you were talking about like the first time I was out on the track.
Yeah, that was the first time.
Ever.
Oh no, for HPDE, like going.
Oh, HPDE. Oh yeah, no, that's like I said, it's.
No.
There's
your first time on track, you were worrying about how many curse words you could call me on the way around.
Right. How many what?
She's like, right. How many curse words you could call him on the way around?
No, not at all. No, it was never that. Yeah.
How many F words can go with Fisher?
No, that wasn't it. I got out of the car. You saw my face when I got out of the car. I'm like, this is so much fun.
As you were crying.
I was totally hooked. Totally. As crazy and terrifying as it was exhilarating.
It is.
But the HPDEs, yes, I really was focused on braking and shifting. That was a big thing for me, my last HPDE.
The line, yeah.
Yeah, the line and the shifting. Shifting was huge.
Vic, do you remember your first time besides the terrorizing yellow Mustang?
I don't exactly. I think our first one was NJMP, right?
Hooked on Driving with NJMP.
Yeah. That wasn't the one where
Big yellow Mustang.
Yeah, but was that the one where Jennifer had the really
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The what?
That was the one where you were so completely stressed out.
Oh, gosh.
Jennifer had a particular. Okay, so yeah, Jennifer was quite stressed out.
Onward and upward, right?
Yeah. So I would have to say that. I think I was driving before that one.
Yeah, you had done races, but you hadn't done HPDEs.
Okay. Because
Remember, we did this backwards.
I know. I kind of went in a little confident.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing that particular HPDE, I was really focused on shifting.
Yep.
And the line.
Yep.
I really wanted to, because I didn't understand the line. And honestly, it wasn't until I ended up going almost a year, maybe two, until I went to Atlanta when I understood what the line was. I mean, they were telling me what it was. It just didn't register until it was drawn out.
That was the end of your second year.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, now I understand what they're saying. So
thank you, Ross Bentley and Peter Krause's virtual track walk.
Absolutely. But I think for that one, I was really focused on just shifting, not so much even the braking part, as much as trying to learn the line and where the apexes were.
So, Bill, did you go to your first DE and focus a lot on where to hit the brakes?
My first DE, I had a tremendous instructor. I was at pit race. I really, the focus we had was linking turns.
Gotcha.
Have you been to pit race yet, Ben?
Not yet.
Okay.
Sooner or later I will.
Well, I'm assuming we're not going to be COVID free for this year, but next year, pencil us in, please.
All right.
It was linking turns, and
that place has a lot of turns, right?
19 turns, yeah. It's like a boomerang.
Yeah.
But it was mostly linking turns, and how do I say this nicely? In endurance racing, you never really drive 10 tenths. Right. And in an HPDE, you still don't drive at 10 tenths, but you drive, at least it was more intense, more aggressive, and trying to see exactly where you could go. And honestly, one of the best things was I went with my instructor. Hello, Chris. And he took my car out there, and that car did a whole lot more than I thought it could.
Yeah.
And then I tried to get the gap a little closer, and I think it probably got closer, but there's still a sizable gap, but we'll get there.
I think that's really great. Even if you don't get a chance to ride with somebody demonstrating in your own car, if you can just get in the car with somebody, who's quick and something similar to what you brought, it's worth taking a ride if you can. Yeah. Not everybody is a great passenger, as we know.
Nope. Vicki,
and that's okay.
Get sick, but yeah.
Yeah, she likes to hurl. Way to go, Vicki.
Oh, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I hate that because I love taking rides with people. That would wreck me.
You could if you took your Dramamine and wore your thing, but
I know.
Yeah, my kid wears those little pressure point wristbands.
Do they work?
I'm holding. Yeah, they keep her from getting sick. I'm holding my wrist up like podcast listeners could see it.
That's okay. She has 2 of them, but she doesn't wear them. But that's fine.
I haven't been a passenger very often.
It's because you keep throwing up. But anyway.
You're going to ride with me. Sooner or later when I meet you, we'll figure it out, but you're definitely going to ride with me.
We're taking a fun.
Prepare to vomit.
That's right.
I mean, most people that ride with me throw up whether they're pre-inclined to do it or not. So it's cool.
So tune in soon to the next episode of Puking with Dawson.
Puking with Dawson.
Hurling with Dawson.
So tell me, why is it that you don't throw up when you're the driver?
Because you're looking in the right spots.
I don't think it's that. I think you have a better grip on the car. Is what it is. I think having the steering wheel and actually being in control of the car and being able to make those inputs and be part of it versus the person who just has to kind of hold on with their knees from sliding around.
Disagree, but that's fine. I'm trying not to go into the tub this
Shocking.
evening.
Shocking.
Trying to stay out of the tub. Smart.
I'm in anti-tub mode tonight. Okay.
All right.
All right. Very well. Don't worry about driving as hard into the corners you can. Worry about your exit. It's a lot safer. It's a lot easier. And honestly, especially your first time in, you're probably going to be a lot faster worrying that way.
I think you're right. Don't be a show off. Your first time out there.
It'll all come.
Yep. Mark this episode down as one that Ben said Bill was right. I love this.
Ooh,
Okay.
crazy.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.